Steve Harvey went silent after a blind player gave this unexpected answer. This moment on stage wasn't just a game changer. It was a powerful reminder of how insight can come from the most unexpected sources. Join us as we dive into a story that challenges perceptions and highlights the beauty of human connection. What unfolds will not only captivate your heart, but also leave you questioning your own views. Stay with us, because this journey is about to take an incredible turn. The lights dim, casting a warm glow over the studio as the familiar theme music of Family Feud fills the air, igniting a wave of excitement among the audience. This isn't just another episode. It's a moment of anticipation and hope. A chance for contestants to showcase their wit and charm. Among them, one player stands out, not for their appearance, but for the extraordinary journey that has brought them to this stage. Enter the blind player, a beacon of determination and spirit, ready to defy expectations and challenge the status quo. As Steve Harvey steps forward to welcome everyone, his charismatic presence electrifies the room. The energy is palpable, with contestants exchanging playful banter and the audience buzzing with anticipation. But amid the laughter and chatter, all eyes occasionally drift toward the blind player who sits calmly at the podium, exuding a quiet confidence and intense focus. They are not just a contestant. They are a warrior, prepared to confront the challenges ahead with unwavering resolve. Whispers of doubt ripple through the crowd, a murmur of skepticism that questions whether someone who is blind can truly keep up with the fast-paced game. Yet, what they don't realize is that this player possesses an extraordinary ability to listen, process, and respond. Skills honed through life's challenges. The real test is not merely about knowledge, but about understanding, empathy, and the strength to rise above preconceived notions. With the first question posed, the atmosphere thickens with tension. The host's voice rings out, and the blind player leans in, ears attuned to the nuances of the question. In that moment, time seems to stand still. When they answer, the clarity and conviction in their voice resonate throughout the studio, leaving the audience momentarily speechless. The applause erupts, a thunderous acknowledgement of their brilliance, with the initial skepticism fading away like mist in the morning sun. As the game progresses, each question serves as a stepping stone, propelling the blind player further into the spotlight. They navigate the challenges with grace, surprising everyone around them. Their responses are not just correct, they are insightful, reflecting a depth of understanding that captivates both the audience and their fellow contestants. Each correct answer transforms the game into a celebration of resilience, a testament to the power of the human spirit. However, as the next question looms on the horizon, a palpable shift occurs in the atmosphere. The stakes are higher now, and a sense of anticipation fills the air, a pivotal moment that could redefine not only the game, but also the player's journey. Will they continue to rise, or will the pressure prove too much? The crowd holds its breath, eager to witness what comes next. As the game unfolds, the atmosphere in the studio grows even more vibrant, charged with energy and anticipation. The audience, energized by the blind player's earlier triumphs, leans forward in their seats, eyes gleaming with excitement. They can feel the collective heartbeat of the crowd, a rhythmic pulse that reflects their eagerness to witness the next round of questions. The camera pans over the contestants, capturing their expressions of determination and camaraderie, while the blind player stands confidently at the podium, ready to showcase their sharp wit and insights. With each question posed by Steve Harvey, the blind player impresses everyone with their ability to think quickly and respond thoughtfully. They draw from a wealth of knowledge, seamlessly blending humor and insight in their answers. The first few questions are a mix of trivia and everyday knowledge, and the blind player navigates them with ease, earning laughter and applause from the audience. This newfound appreciation from the crowd begins to build a bridge between them and the other contestants, creating a sense of connection that transcends the competitive nature of the game. As the rounds progress, camaraderie springs to life among the contestants. They share encouraging nods and smiles, a subtle acknowledgement of each other's efforts. The blind player finds themselves exchanging playful banter with a fellow contestant, a young woman named Lisa, who had initially been skeptical. "You've got a knack for this," she says with a grin. "I might need to take notes from you." This light-hearted exchange fills the studio with laughter, and the atmosphere shifts from mere competition to a celebration of collective spirit. However, as the game progresses, the tension begins to escalate. The questions become increasingly challenging, and the pressure mounts for all contestants. The audience's excitement peaks, and the stakes feel higher than ever. The blind player senses the shift in dynamics, feeling the weight of the competition pressing down. But this was just the beginning. The real test was yet to come, they think, steeling themselves for what lies ahead. In a pivotal moment, Steve asks a particularly tough question. Name something you might find at a wedding. The studio holds its breath, the air thick with anticipation as the contestants mentally sift through their experiences and knowledge. The blind player, drawing on their own memories of weddings attended, recalls the sights, sounds, and emotions associated with these celebrations. They take a brief moment to organize their thoughts, feeling the energy of the audience focused entirely on them. With the spotlight on them, they respond confidently. "A wedding cake." The answer rings out, clear and assertive, cutting through the tension like a knife. The crowd erupts into loud applause and cheers, celebrating not just the correct answer, but the spirit and resilience the blind player embodies. They can feel the rush of affirmation, the warmth of acceptance washing over them as the applause fills the studio. But just as the excitement begins to settle, Steve leans in with a knowing smile, signaling that the next round holds an unexpected twist. "All right, folks, get ready," he announces, his voice playful yet serious. This next question is designed to shake things up a bit. It's not just about what you know. It's about how you think. The blind player's heart races as they realize the stakes have been raised once more. They exchange glances with the other contestants, who all seem equally aware of the challenge ahead. The camaraderie that had been building suddenly feels overshadowed by the competitive tension that accompanies the notion of a trick question. They can hear the excited murmurs from the audience, who are equally intrigued and anxious about what's to come. Steve's voice deepens, creating a dramatic pause that heightens the suspense. This question could change the game. Are you ready? The studio holds its breath, every eye focused on Steve. The blind player grips the podium, feeling the hardwood beneath their fingers, grounding themselves in this moment. This is not just another question. It's a chance to showcase their adaptability and quick thinking. At this moment, they remind themselves of the journey that has led them here, the struggles faced, the barriers overcome, and the support received. The atmosphere thickens with anticipation as Steve prepares to ask the next question. And everyone senses the potential for something truly transformative. As he begins to speak, the blind player feels a surge of determination. Whatever the question may be, they are ready to face it head-on, not just for themselves, but for every person who has ever felt underestimated. They take a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever comes next. As the lights in the studio dim slightly, the atmosphere shifts, thickening with anticipation. The air is electric, charged with the energy of both contestants and the audience, who are all acutely aware that this moment is pivotal. Steve Harvey, with his trademark charisma, glances over the contestants, his expression a blend of mischief and seriousness. "All right, folks," he announces, his voice booming through the studio. "We're diving into something a little different this time. This question won't just test your knowledge. It might just redefine everything." The blind player stands at their podium, heart racing, senses heightened. They can hear the faint rustle of excitement among the audience, the whispers of speculation about what the next question might entail. What will it be? They ponder, feeling the collective energy of anticipation surrounding them. The stakes feel higher than ever, and they know that this question could potentially change the dynamics of the game and perhaps even their own journey. Steve leans into the microphone, his tone shifting to a more serious note. "We surveyed 100 people. Name something that brings people together." The studio goes silent as the contestants process the question. The gravity of Steve's words sinks in, leaving everyone in a contemplative state. This isn't just a question about facts or trivia. It's about understanding the essence of human connection, the very fabric that binds us all. The blind player closes their eyes momentarily, allowing the question to resonate within them. They think of family gatherings, friendships forged over shared experiences, and the unifying power of love and laughter. Memories flood their mind, moments of joy, of overcoming challenges together, and the warmth of community that comes from shared experiences. They recall the times they sang along with friends at a party, the way music and laughter flowed through the room, creating an atmosphere of togetherness. With the audience holding its breath, the blind player opens their eyes, a newfound clarity shining through. They take a deep breath, steadying themselves, and focus on the core of the question. "I believe the answer is music," they declare, their voice ringing with conviction, resonating with the strength of their belief. The word hangs in the air as the audience reacts. A murmur spreads through the crowd, a mixture of surprise and contemplation, as if they are processing the depth of the answer. Steve's eyebrows raise, clearly impressed. "Let's see if music is on the board." The anticipation is palpable as the answers are revealed one by one. When music finally appears, the studio erupts into applause, the audience celebrating the insight and resonance of the response. The blind player feels a rush of euphoria. They have not only answered correctly, but have also touched on something profound that resonates deeply with everyone present. But then, as the cheers begin to fade, a profound silence blankets the room. It's a moment of reflection, a pause that feels heavier than any applause. Steve stands for a moment, visibly moved, taking in the impact of the blind player's answer. The atmosphere has shifted from one of competition to a deeper understanding of connection. This silence speaks volumes, he thinks, realizing that this question and answer transcends the game itself. The contestants, feeling the weight of the moment, exchange glances filled with newfound respect for the blind player. What began as a mere game show has transformed into a platform for sharing insights and experiences that transcend the competition. The blind player stands firm, feeling the gravity of their words resonating in the hearts of everyone in the studio. They can sense the emotional shift, the way the audience's applause has turned into a unified acknowledgement of the importance of connection. Steve finally breaks the silence, his voice softer yet still commanding. That was a powerful answer. Music does bring us together in ways words sometimes can't. It's a reminder of our shared humanity, The audience nods in agreement, their applause returning with even more fervor, celebrating not just the correct answer, but the emotional connection forged through it. Laughter starts to ripple through the crowd as stories of personal experiences related to music begin to surface, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. As the game continues, the blind player realizes that this moment has changed everything. They are no longer just participating in a game. They have become a catalyst for a deeper discussion about life, connection, and the power of shared experiences. They can see the contestants' attitudes shifting, the competitive edge giving way to a sense of unity and camaraderie that hadn't existed before. The blind player feels a wave of gratitude wash over them, not just for the applause, but for the connections being formed in this moment. Yet, as the momentum builds, the blind player knows that the journey is far from over. What happens next is beyond anyone's imagination. They think, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. The game is still in full swing, and with the next round approaching, they brace themselves for whatever challenges lie ahead. The stakes are high, but so are the rewards, both in terms of the game and the deeper connections that are being formed among the contestants and the audience alike. As they prepare for the next question, the blind player reflects on how far they have come in this journey. They think about the doubts they faced, the skepticism of others, and the moments of vulnerability that led to this point. The path hasn't been easy, but with each question answered, they have found a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. They are determined to continue this journey, not just for themselves, but for all those who have ever felt marginalized or underestimated. The studio lights brighten again, pulling them from their thoughts, and Steve's voice cuts through the anticipation. All right, let's see what the next question has in store for us. As the applause from the audience begins to fade, the studio envelops everyone in a contemplative silence. The atmosphere is thick with emotion, a palpable energy that wraps around each contestant, each audience member, and the blind player standing confidently at their podium. Steve Harvey, usually quick with a joke or a quip, stands momentarily speechless, visibly moved by the power of the moment. His expression reflects a mixture of surprise and admiration as he acknowledges the weight of the blind player's answer. The silence that envelops the studio is profound. It feels as if time has momentarily suspended. The contestants, once focused solely on the competition, now find themselves reflecting on their own lives, their experiences, and the connections that truly matter. They exchange glances filled with understanding, realizing that this game is about more than just answering questions. It's about shared humanity. Each person stands on the precipice of something deeper, something that connects them beyond the surface. The blind player stands at the podium, heart racing and breath steadying, feeling the collective energy of the audience and contestants. Their mind races with thoughts of what this moment means, both for them and for everyone watching. They can sense the shift in the room, the camaraderie that has blossomed among the contestants, the newfound respect they've earned, and the emotional resonance of their answer. It's as if the blind player has pulled back a curtain, revealing the deeper connections that bind everyone together, transcending the boundaries of the game. Steve finally breaks the silence, his voice steady but softer than before. That was a powerful answer, he begins, looking directly at the blind player. Music brings people together in ways that words sometimes can't. It transcends barriers and creates bonds that last a lifetime. His words hang in the air, a reminder of the unifying power of shared experiences. The audience nods in agreement, their expressions reflecting a deeper understanding of the moment, as if they are collectively processing the significance of what has just transpired. One by one, the contestants begin to share their thoughts, inspired by the blind player's insight. Lisa, The young woman who had previously been skeptical steps forward. "You know, I hadn't thought about it that way before," she admits, her voice a bit shaky with emotion. "Music has been a big part of my life, too. I remember singing with my family during road trips, and those moments always brought us closer together." The audience responds with warm applause, appreciating her vulnerability and willingness to share her story. Mark, the middle-aged man who had shared his own experiences earlier, nods in agreement. "And it's not just about the music itself," he adds thoughtfully. "It's about the memories tied to those songs. Every time I hear a certain tune, it takes me back to moments shared with friends, laughter echoing, and even tears shed together. Those memories are timeless." His words resonate with the audience, and they respond with enthusiastic cheers, creating a sense of community that fills the studio. As more contestants share their experiences, the atmosphere shifts from competition to connection. Stories of love, loss, joy, and resilience flow freely, creating a tapestry of shared humanity that binds everyone together in that moment. The blind player watches in awe, feeling a sense of pride and fulfillment as they see their influence ripple through the studio. Each story shared is a thread woven into the fabric of this shared experience, reinforcing the reality that they are all in this together. The emotional surge of the moment transforms the dynamics of the game. Contestants no longer view each other as rivals. Instead, they see allies in a shared journey. The blind player, once an underdog, has become a beacon of inspiration, reminding everyone that connection transcends sight, and that empathy can emerge from even the most unexpected places. They realize that this moment is not about individual triumph, but about collective growth and understanding. Steve, ever the master of ceremonies, senses the shift and recognizes the importance of what is happening. He steps back from the podium, allowing the contestants to share their stories freely. "This is what it's all about, folks," he says, gesturing to the contestants. "We might be playing a game here, but it's the connections we make that truly matter. Let's celebrate those moments." His encouragement feels like a catalyst, prompting the contestants to open up even further. The audience erupts in applause once more, their cheers echoing through the studio. The blind player stands in the center of it all, feeling a mix of gratitude and humility. They realize that the journey is not just about winning or losing. It's about the impact they can have on others and the connections they can foster. This realization fills them with a sense of purpose, a determination to keep pushing forward, no matter what challenges lie ahead. Yet, amidst the celebration, the blind player feels a slight tremor of apprehension creeping in. The game is still ongoing, and with each passing moment, the stakes are rising. The next question could change everything once again. What if I can't live up to this moment? They think. But then shake off the doubt. They remind themselves of the strength they've shown, of the support surrounding them, and of the incredible journey they have undertaken thus far. As the emotional surge begins to settle, Steve turns his attention back to the contestants, a twinkle of mischief returning to his eyes. "All right, everyone," he says, bringing the focus back to the game. "As we move on to the final challenge, I want you all to remember the connections you've made here today. This next question might just bring everything full circle, so let's see what you've got." The energy in the room shifts once more. The contestants ready to face whatever comes next, united by the experiences they've shared. The blind player takes a deep breath, steeling themselves for the challenge ahead. They know that no matter the outcome, they have already won in so many ways. The connections forged, the stories shared, and the impact made will resonate long after the game concludes. They reflect on the journey that has brought them here. The struggles, the triumphs, and the moments of vulnerability that have shaped them into who they are today. As the lights brighten and the next question looms on the horizon, the blind player stands tall, ready to embrace whatever comes next. They are not just a contestant. They are a symbol of resilience, connection, and the power of shared experiences. Whatever happens in the game, they will carry this moment with them, a testament to the strength of human connection and the transformative power of vulnerability. With that thought in mind, they take their place at the podium, feeling the weight of the moment settle around them like a comforting embrace. The world outside fades away, and all that exists is the challenge ahead and the connections that have been forged in the heat of the game. The studio buzzes with anticipation, and the blind player is ready to face whatever comes next, heart open and mind focused. As the initial excitement from the last question slowly fades, the studio remains charged with energy. The atmosphere has transformed from one of competition to a supportive haven, where stories and experiences flow freely among the contestants. The blind player, still basking in the aftermath of their impactful answer, feels the warmth of camaraderie envelop them like a comforting blanket. They sense that the emotional resonance of their response has ignited something profound in the hearts of those around them. Steve Harvey, sensing the shift in the room, encourages the contestants to share their own stories inspired by the blind player's insights. "Let's take a moment to hear from everyone," he suggests, his voice inviting and warm. "This isn't just about trivia. It's about the connections we've formed here today." The audience responds with enthusiastic applause, eager to hear the stories that have unfolded behind the scenes. Lisa, the young woman who had first expressed skepticism, takes a step forward. "I've always thought of competition as something fierce and solitary," she begins, her voice trembling slightly with vulnerability. "But today, I realized that it's the people around us who make us stronger. I remember when I was going through a tough time last year. My friends rallied around me, and it was their support that helped me push through." The audience listens intently, captivated by her honesty. Mark, inspired by Lisa's openness, nods and adds, "I can relate to that. There was a time when I felt lost in my career, and it was the encouragement of my family and friends that pulled me back." We often underestimate the power of just being there for someone. It's those small gestures of kindness that can make the biggest difference. His words resonate deeply, and the audience responds with heartfelt applause, recognizing the universal truth in his statement. As the contestants share their stories, the blind player watches with a mix of pride and awe. Each story unfolds like a thread in a larger tapestry of connection, binding the contestants together in a profound way. They realize that their journey has sparked something special, a ripple effect that extends far beyond the confines of the studio. Each story shared becomes a testament to the human experience, emphasizing the strength found in vulnerability and the importance of community. "I've learned so much from all of you." The blind player finally speaks up, their voice steady and sincere. "I've always believed that true strength comes from vulnerability and connection. Today has shown me how powerful it is to share our stories and support one another." Their words hang in the air, resonating with the contestants who nod in agreement, their expressions reflecting a newfound understanding of the importance of empathy and community. As the stories continue to flow, Steve watches with pride, knowing that this moment is transformative, not just for the contestants, but for the audience as well. He sees how the shared experiences are healing old wounds and forging new friendships. "This is what it's all about, folks," he says, his voice filled with emotion. "We're more than just players in a game. We're a community." His declaration is met with thunderous applause, the audience fully embracing the spirit of togetherness that has blossomed in the studio. Yet, despite the warmth of the moment, a tension still lingers in the air. The game is not over, and the final challenge looms ahead. The contestants are acutely aware that while they have created bonds, the stakes are still high. The laughter and shared stories have fostered a sense of unity, yet the competitive spirit remains. What they didn't know was that this moment would create waves far beyond the studio. The blind player reflects, feeling both excitement and apprehension about the upcoming challenge. The realization that they are not just playing for themselves, but for each other, adds weight to their resolve. The blind player takes a moment to collect their thoughts, knowing that whatever the final question may be, it will test not only their knowledge, but also the strength of the connections they've made. They can sense that this next challenge will be pivotal, not just for them, but for everyone involved. Steve, sensing the anticipation in the room, steps forward with a glimmer in his eye. "All right, everyone, brace yourselves. The final question will come shortly, and it's one that will not only test your knowledge, but also encapsulate everything we've experienced here." The tension in the room rises as everyone prepares for what's to come. "But remember," he adds, his tone serious yet encouraging, "this isn't just about winning. It's about how you've grown together." As the final question approaches, the blind player's heart races with a mix of excitement and nervousness. They can feel the bond they've formed with their fellow contestants, and it strengthens their resolve to face whatever comes next. No matter what happens, we're in this together, they think, drawing strength from the connections that have blossomed during the game. The audience holds its collective breath, the weight of the moment palpable. The blind player knows that this final challenge could seal their legacy, but they also understand that the real victory lies in the relationships they've built along the way. They glance at their fellow contestants, each one wearing a look of determination mixed with anxiety, and they feel a surge of solidarity. They are all in this together, and that thought fills them with courage. Steve leans in closer, his voice steady as he addresses the contestants. "This question will be your chance to reflect on everything you've experienced. Think about the connections you've made and the stories you've shared. This is more than just a game. It's a celebration of the journey you've all taken." His words resonate deeply, and the contestants nod in agreement, fully aware of the importance of this moment. The blind player feels a sense of calm wash over them, a quiet confidence emerging as they prepare for what lies ahead. They take a deep breath, focusing on the support of their fellow contestants and the audience that has rallied around them. "We've all come so far together," they remind themselves. "And whatever happens next, we will face it as a united front." As the stage lights grow brighter, illuminating the faces of the contestants and audience alike, the blind player's resolve solidifies. They are ready. They are not just a contestant. They are a symbol of resilience, connection, and the power of shared experiences. Whatever happens in the game, they will carry this moment with them, a testament to the strength of human connection and the transformative power of vulnerability. With that thought in mind, they stand poised at the podium, prepared to embrace whatever comes next. The anticipation in the air is thick, and in that moment, the blind player knows that they have already made a lasting impact. They have shown that true strength comes from within, and that the bonds of friendship and empathy can light the way, even in the darkest of times. The anticipation in the studio is electric, a palpable energy that crackles through the air as the final question looms on the horizon. A crescendo of excitement that pulses through the audience and contestants alike. The lights shine brightly, casting a warm glow over the gathering and illuminating the eager faces of friends, rivals, and supporters. Each contestant feels the weight of the moment, recognizing that this question could redefine everything they've experienced together. Steve Harvey steps forward, his demeanor shifting to one of utmost seriousness. All right, everyone, this is it. The moment you've all been waiting for. This final question isn't just about winning. It's about reflecting on the bonds you've created and the lessons you've learned throughout this journey. His words resonate deeply, reminding everyone in the room of the significance of their shared experiences. The blind player stands poised at their podium, feeling a mixture of excitement and trepidation. They know that this question will not only test their knowledge, but also encapsulate the essence of everything they've learned. What could it be? They wonder, thinking back on the powerful moments shared, the stories told, and the connections forged. The anticipation builds within them, a blend of anxiety and hope. Whatever it is, I'm ready for it. As Steve leans closer to the microphone, the studio falls silent, the weight of the moment enveloping everyone like a thick fog. The final question is this: name something that brings people together in a meaningful way. The question hangs in the air, a profound inquiry that strikes at the very heart of the journey they've all undertaken. Contestants exchange glances filled with understanding and determination. The blind player's mind races, contemplating the essence of connection. They think of the profound conversations they've had, the stories shared, and the laughter that is echoed throughout the studio. It's not just about a specific answer, they realize, but about understanding the deeper meaning behind our experiences. Lisa, sitting beside the blind player, leans in slightly, her brow furrowed in thought. "What do you think?" she whispers, a hint of anxiety in her voice. The blind player can sense her nervousness and offers a reassuring smile. "Whatever answer we give, let's make sure it reflects what we've learned together," they reply, their confidence bolstering Lisa's resolve. The bond they've formed seems to shine brightly in this moment, illuminating their path forward. As the contestants take turns answering, the responses range from the expected, love, friendship, and communication, to more nuanced reflections on community and shared experiences. Each answer is met with applause from the audience, who feel the weight of the moment and the sincerity behind each response. The blind player listens intently, absorbing the words of their fellow contestants, finding solace in the themes that weave through their answers. When it's finally their turn, the blind player takes a deep breath, feeling the support of the audience and their fellow contestants behind them. They step forward, their heart pounding, but their voice unwavering. I believe the answer is shared experiences. It's those moments we create together, whether they're filled with laughter, tears, or even challenges, that truly bring us closer. The audience leans in, captivated by the sincerity of their response. The studio falls silent for a moment, the weight of the blind player's words resonating deeply. Shared experiences are what allow us to connect on a human level, they continue, their passion shining through. It's about being present for one another, understanding each other's journeys, and creating memories that last a lifetime. Their words flow effortlessly, fueled by the emotions that have built up throughout the competition. As they finish speaking, a hush envelops the studio, creating an almost sacred moment of reflection. Steve stands in awe, a look of admiration on his face, as the audience erupts into applause, their cheers echoing throughout the studio. The blind player feels a surge of emotion, knowing that their answer encapsulates not just their own journey, but the collective experience of everyone present. A sense of pride washes over them as they turn to their fellow contestants, who nod in agreement, their expressions reflecting the shared understanding of the power of connection. The blind player realizes that this moment is not just a personal victory. It is a celebration of everything they've achieved together. They can feel the bonds of friendship and support tightening around them, solidifying their place in this community. Steve takes a moment to collect himself, visibly moved by the sincerity of the blind player's answer. "What a powerful response," he finally says, his voice filled with emotion. "You've all shown that it's the moments we share that create bonds that last a lifetime." The audience applauds once again, their appreciation for the contestants' journeys palpable. Each clap echoes the sentiment of solidarity that has blossomed throughout the game. Yet, amidst the celebration, a tension still lingers in the air. The stakes are high, and the final scores are yet to be revealed. The blind player feels a mix of excitement and nervousness, knowing that while they have made an impact, the outcome of the competition is still uncertain. "What if our scores don't reflect the connections we've forged?" they think, but then shake off the doubt. They remind themselves that the true victory lies in their shared experiences, not just in the points on the board. As Steve prepares to reveal the final scores, the contestants stand together, united in their experiences and the bonds they've formed. The blind player glances at their fellow contestants, each one wearing a look of determination mixed with anxiety. They feel a surge of solidarity, knowing that no matter the outcome, they will carry the lessons learned and the friendships forged into the future. Steve pauses dramatically, allowing the anticipation to build. "The scores are in," he announces, his voice steady. "But remember, this isn't just about the numbers. It's about the journey you've all taken together." The contestants stand shoulder to shoulder, their hearts racing as they await the final verdict. The audience is on the edge of their seats, the silence in the room almost deafening as everyone leans forward, eager to hear the results. As Steve reveals the scores, the audience erupts into cheers, celebrating the achievements of all the contestants. The blind player feels a wave of emotion wash over them, realizing that they have already won in so many ways. The connections forged, the stories shared, and the impact made will resonate long after the game concludes. They exchange glances with their fellow contestants, seeing the pride and joy reflected in each other's eyes. In the final moments, Steve turns to the contestants, a proud smile on his face. "You've all shown that true strength comes from connection, empathy, and support. This game may have come to an end, but the bonds you've created will last a lifetime." The audience responds with a standing ovation, their cheers echoing through the studio as the contestants bask in the warmth of their shared experience. As the lights begin to dim, the blind player takes a moment to reflect on their journey. They have faced challenges, overcome doubts, and forged connections that have transformed their perspective on life. They step forward, feeling the weight of the moment settle around them like a comforting embrace. The world outside fades away, and all that exists is the unity they've created together. With hearts full of gratitude and a sense of purpose, the blind player stands tall, ready to embrace whatever comes next. They know that this experience has ignited a passion within them to continue fostering connections and spreading love wherever they go. The finale is not just an end, but a beautiful beginning, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of shared experiences. As the audience continues to cheer, the contestants gather together for one last moment. They hug, laugh, and share memories, knowing that this experience has changed them forever. The blind player looks around, feeling a swell of emotion as they take in the faces of their fellow contestants, each one a part of this incredible journey. "Thank you, everyone," the blind player says, their voice filled with gratitude. "Thank you for sharing this journey with me. I will carry these moments with me for the rest of my life." The cheers from the audience swell even louder, echoing the sentiment shared by all. In this moment, they are not just contestants. They are a family bound by shared experiences, understanding, and love. As they prepare to leave the stage, the blind player takes one last look around, feeling the warmth of the connections forged and the impact they've made. They step into the future with confidence, knowing that their voice matters and that the bonds they've created will last a lifetime. This journey has not just been about answering questions, it has been about discovering the beauty of human connection. And they are ready to carry that lesson into the world beyond the studio. The lights of the studio dimmed, and the applause began to fade. But the energy of the night lingered in the air, like the sweet scent of a summer rain. The contestants, still buzzing with excitement, began to disperse, but the blind player lingered for a moment longer, soaking in the atmosphere that had transformed their lives. It was more than just a game. It was a turning point, a moment of profound change that would echo throughout their future. As they stepped off the stage, they were met with warm embraces from their fellow contestants. Lisa approached first, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears of joy and disbelief. "I can't believe we did it. We really came together, didn't we? I feel like I've known you all my life." The blind player smiled, their hearts swelling with gratitude and affection for the friendships they had forged. "I feel the same way. It's incredible how this experience has changed us all." They exchanged stories and laughter, reminiscing about the challenges they faced and the bonds they formed. Each story was a reminder of the journey they had undertaken together, filled with moments of vulnerability and strength. As they made their way to the exit, Steve Harvey approached them, his trademark smile lighting up his face. "You all were fantastic tonight. I've never seen such genuine connections on this stage before," he said, his voice warm and encouraging. "You've inspired so many people, including me. Remember, this is just the beginning." The blind player felt a rush of pride at his words. "Thank you, Steve. This experience has meant everything to us. We've learned so much about ourselves and each other." "Keep that spirit alive," he replied, placing a reassuring hand on their shoulder. "You have the power to make a difference, not just in your life, but in the lives of others. Don't let this moment fade." With a final wave, he turned to address the crew, leaving the blind player feeling invigorated and hopeful about the future. As they stepped outside, the cool night air enveloped them, a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the studio. The city lights twinkled like stars above, casting a magical glow over everything and filling them with a sense of possibility. This was not just the end of a chapter. It was the beginning of a new journey, one filled with promise and potential. In the weeks that followed, the blind player and their fellow contestants kept in touch, sharing updates and supporting one another as they navigated their lives post-show. They formed a group chat where messages flowed freely, updates about new jobs, personal challenges, and moments of triumph. Each notification brought a smile, a reminder that their connections would endure beyond the confines of the studio. One evening, Lisa proposed a reunion, her excitement palpable through the screen. "Let's meet up and celebrate our experiences. We should share where we are now and how we've grown. The blind player loved the idea, their heart fluttering at the thought of reconnecting. They all agreed to gather at a local cafe, a cozy spot that had become a favorite hangout for the group during their time on the show. On the day of the reunion, the blind player arrived early, their heart racing with excitement and nerves. They settled into a comfortable booth, their mind buzzing with anticipation. They thought about how much they had changed over the course of the game and the people who had become such an integral part of their journey. Each moment spent in the studio replayed in their mind like a cherished memory, a montage of laughter, tears, and the forging of deep connections. Slowly, one by one, the contestants arrived. Mark was the first, his usual exuberance on full display as he entered the cafe. "Look who it is, the star of the show," he exclaimed, sweeping the blind player into a hearty hug. The warmth of friendship enveloped them both, a reminder of the camaraderie they had built. Next came Lisa, her smile brightening the room as she joined them. The others followed, each bringing their own unique energy to the gathering. The cafe filled with laughter and chatter as they reminisced about their time on the show, recounting their favorite moments and the challenges they faced. "Remember when Steve asked that impossible question?" Lisa laughed, her eyes sparkling. "I thought my heart would stop. I had no idea how I was going to answer," the blind player admitted, chuckling. "But it turned out to be the moment that connected us all. It showed how far we've come, both as individuals and as a team." As the evening wore on, the mood shifted from nostalgic reminiscing to deeper reflections on their personal growth. They began to share the lessons they had learned from their experiences, the challenges they had faced since leaving the show, and how they had applied those lessons in their daily lives. "I've been volunteering at a local community center," Mark shared, his voice filled with passion. "It's been incredible to see how much we can impact others' lives just by being there for them. I feel like I've discovered my purpose." His words resonated deeply within the group, who nodded in understanding and support. "That's amazing, Mark," Lisa exclaimed, her eyes wide with admiration. "I've been working on a project for my school that focuses on inclusivity, inspired by our time on the show. I want to create a space where everyone feels valued, regardless of their background." The blind player was impressed by her dedication, feeling a sense of pride for how far they had all come. The blind player listened intently, feeling a surge of inspiration. "Hearing all of this makes me realize how much we've grown. I've also been exploring new ways to connect with my community. I want to start a podcast to share stories and experiences similar to what we did on the show. I think it could help others feel less alone." The group erupted in encouragement, their support fueling the blind player's determination. "You have such a powerful voice," Lisa said, her sincerity evident. "You can make a real difference." The blind player felt a warm glow of validation, motivated to pursue their passions. As the night drew to a close, they took a moment to reflect on their journey together. They realized that while the game show had been a significant milestone, it was the connections they had forged and the impact they could create that truly defined their experience. Each one of them had grown in ways they hadn't imagined possible, and it was the support of their newfound friends that had made it all possible. "Let's promise to keep supporting each other," Mark suggested, raising his glass. "To friendships that last a lifetime and to new beginnings." The group raised their glasses in unison, the clinking of glass a celebratory sound of hope and unity. The laughter and warmth of the moment wrapped around them like a comforting blanket, solidifying their bond. With renewed determination and a sense of purpose, they left the cafe, stepping back into the world with a shared commitment to continue making a difference. Each of them carried the lessons of their time on the show, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. They knew that together, they could create ripples of change that would extend far beyond their individual journeys. As the blind player walked home under the starlit sky, they felt a profound sense of gratitude. They had come so far, and the connections they formed would guide them into the future like a constellation of stars lighting the way. With every step, they felt lighter, more equipped to face what lay ahead. With a heart full of hope, they embraced the new chapter of their life. They were ready to share their story, to inspire others just as they had been inspired. The blind player envisioned their podcast, each episode a new opportunity to connect, to empower, and to uplift those who felt alone in their struggles. As the weeks turned into months, the blind player found themselves pouring their energy into the podcast. They reached out to guests from various walks of life, each one bringing unique insights and experiences. The first episode featured Lisa, who spoke passionately about her project on inclusivity. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and the chemistry they shared was palpable. Listeners began to resonate with the stories shared, and the blind player felt a sense of fulfillment unlike any they had experienced before. Each message from a listener expressing gratitude or sharing their own story filled them with purpose. The blind player realized that they were not just sharing their journey. They were creating a platform for others to share theirs as well, fostering a sense of community that echoed the bonds formed on the show. As the podcast gained traction, the blind player was invited to speak at local events, sharing their journey and the lessons they had learned. They spoke about the importance of connection, vulnerability, and resilience. The more they shared, the more they realized the impact their words had on others. Through their journey, the blind player discovered a renewed sense of self, one that was intertwined with the lives of those they had come to know and love. They understood that every story mattered, and that by sharing their own, they could help others find their voice. As they sat down to record another episode, the blind player smiled, reflecting on how far they had come. The journey of a lifetime had begun with a single step onto that stage, and now they were forging a path filled with purpose and passion. Each moment, each connection, was a testament to the beauty of shared experiences, an echo of the lessons learned that would resonate for years to come. As the seasons changed, so did the blind player's life. The podcast continued to flourish, evolving into a vibrant platform that not only shared stories, but also ignited conversations about vulnerability, resilience, and the power of community. Each episode resonated with listeners, creating a tapestry of voices that echoed the sentiments of those who had once gathered in the studio, each thread woven with care and intention. The blind player often reflected on their time on the show, recognizing the profound impact it had on their life. They were no longer just an individual navigating their path. They were a beacon of hope for many. The messages poured in, each one a testament to the ripple effect their journey had created. People shared how the podcast inspired them to embrace their own stories, to reach out for help, and to connect with others in ways they had never thought possible. One morning, as the blind player sipped coffee and reviewed listener feedback, a particular message caught their eye. It was from a young woman named Sarah, who wrote about her struggles with anxiety and how hearing the blind player's story had given her the courage to seek therapy. "Your words made me feel less alone," she wrote. "I finally took that step, and it's changing my life." Tears welled in the blind player's eyes as they read her words, each line resonating deeply within them. They felt an overwhelming sense of purpose wash over them, a reminder of why they had embarked on this journey. This was what they had hoped to achieve, a connection that could shift someone's perspective and inspire change. They realized that every story shared had the potential to touch lives in unexpected ways, creating a ripple that could extend far beyond their immediate reach. Inspired by Sarah's message, the blind player decided it was time to take their mission beyond the confines of the podcast. They envisioned a community event that would bring together listeners, local advocates, and mental health professionals to foster dialogue and support. It would be a safe space for individuals to share their experiences, connect with others, and learn about available resources. Excited by the idea, the blind player reached out to their fellow contestants, seeking their input and support. Mark was eager to help organize the event, his passion for community service shining through. "Let's create an experience that reflects everything we've talked about," he said enthusiastically. "We can have workshops, panel discussions, and even a space for open mic storytelling." Lisa, too, was quick to join the planning team. "I can set up a booth for my inclusivity project. It would be great to share resources on how to create safe spaces in schools and communities," she suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. With a team of passionate individuals behind them, the blind player felt invigorated. They began to outline the details of the event, identifying potential venues and reaching out to local organizations for support. As they worked tirelessly to bring the vision to life, they felt a sense of fulfillment that transcended their initial goals. The planning sessions were filled with brainstorming, laughter, and moments of inspiration, each one reinforcing the bonds they had formed. As the event day approached, the blind player experienced a mix of excitement and nervousness. They often found themselves reflecting on their journey, from the uncertainty of stepping onto the stage for the first time, to now planning an event with the potential to impact many lives. "This is a new chapter," they reminded themselves, taking a deep breath to center their thoughts, channeling their anxiety into positive energy. The day of the event arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. The venue buzzed with energy as attendees began to filter in, eager to connect and share their stories. The blind player stood at the entrance, welcoming guests with a warm smile, their heart racing with anticipation. Each person who walked through the door felt like another thread weaving into the fabric of the community they were trying to create. As the opening session commenced, they took to the stage, standing before a diverse audience filled with familiar faces and new ones. "Thank you all for being here today," they began, their voice steady yet filled with emotion, echoing slightly in the spacious room. "This event is a celebration of our stories, our struggles, and our triumphs. It's a reminder that we are not alone in our journeys." The audience erupted in applause, and the blind player felt a surge of encouragement. They introduced the first speaker, a local mental health professional who shared valuable insights on the importance of seeking help and fostering supportive communities. The attendees listened intently, nodding in agreement as they absorbed the information, their expressions shifting from curiosity to understanding. Throughout the day, various workshops and discussions unfolded. People shared their experiences, their challenges, and their victories, creating a rich tapestry of narratives that intertwined with one another. The blind player found themselves moved by the courage of those who stepped up to the mic, sharing their vulnerabilities with honesty and grace. Each story was a thread in the fabric of the community, binding everyone together in shared understanding and empathy. During a breakout session, the blind player facilitated a workshop focused on storytelling as a healing tool. They encouraged participants to reflect on their journeys and find the courage to share their narratives. "Your story matters," they reminded the group. their voice resonating with sincerity. It has the power to inspire others and create connections that can change lives. As the participants began to share their stories, the room filled with emotion. Tears flowed freely, laughter erupted, and an overwhelming sense of solidarity emerged. The blind player listened intently, feeling each story resonate deeply within them. They were reminded of their own journey, of the struggles they had faced, and the importance of community in overcoming adversity. The walls of the room seemed to breathe with the energy of shared experiences, creating a sanctuary for healing and connection. As the day drew to a close, the blind player felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The event had exceeded their expectations, fostering connections and conversations that they had hoped would happen. They realized that this gathering was just the beginning, a stepping stone toward building a larger community focused on support and empowerment. The laughter, tears, and heartfelt conversations that filled the room were a testament to the strength that comes from vulnerability. In the aftermath of the event, the blind player received an influx of messages from attendees expressing gratitude for the space created. Many shared how the event had inspired them to take steps toward healing and connection. A message from Sarah stood out among the rest. "Thank you for creating a safe space where I felt heard and seen. I'm taking the next steps for my mental health, and I couldn't have done it without you." With each message, the blind player felt their hearts swell with pride and purpose. They recognized that the ripple effect of their journey had expanded beyond their initial vision. They were not just sharing stories. They were cultivating a community that embraced vulnerability and celebrated resilience. The feedback fueled their motivation, igniting a fire within them to continue their efforts. As they sat down to record the next episode of their podcast, the blind player reflected on the impact of the event and the stories shared. "Today was a beautiful reminder of the strength we all possess," they began, their voice filled with conviction. "We are all on our unique journeys, but when we come together, we can create something truly powerful. Let's continue to share our stories and lift each other up." The podcast episode resonated with listeners, reinforcing the importance of community and connection. The blind player knew that their mission was far from over. They were determined to keep the momentum going, to continue nurturing the relationships formed, and to seek out new opportunities to inspire others. As they closed their eyes and envisioned the future, they felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. The world was vast, filled with stories waiting to be told, connections waiting to be made, and lives waiting to be changed. With renewed passion and a heart full of hope, the blind player embraced the journey ahead, ready to explore the endless possibilities that lay in front of them. In the weeks that followed, the blind player began to brainstorm ideas for future events, each one more ambitious than the last. They envisioned workshops that would empower individuals to share their stories through various mediums: writing, art, and even performance. They hoped to create a series of events that would not only educate, but also inspire creativity and connection among participants. To bring these ideas to fruition, the blind player reached out to local artists, writers, and community leaders, inviting them to join in the effort. The response was overwhelmingly positive. People were eager to contribute their talents and passions to a cause that resonated with them. Collaborating with like-minded individuals filled the blind player with a renewed sense of purpose. One afternoon, they met with a local artist named Maya, who had a profound vision for using art as a form of healing. Art has a unique way of expressing what words sometimes can't, Maya explained as they discussed potential workshops. We could create a space where participants can explore their emotions and experiences through creative expression. The blind player felt a spark of excitement at the prospect. That would be incredible. We could have an art showcase at the next event, allowing participants to display their work and share the stories behind it. It would be a celebration of their journeys. As they planned and prepared, the blind player felt the anticipation building. Each meeting, each conversation, brought them closer to their vision of a thriving community, centered around connection and healing. They realized that the ripple effect they had initiated was not just about their own journey. It was about empowering others to share theirs. Finally, the day of the next community event arrived. The venue buzzed with energy, filled with art displays, stories waiting to be told, and hearts eager to connect. The blind player stood at the entrance, greeting guests with a warm smile, their heart racing with excitement. The atmosphere was electric, a tangible sense of hope and possibility hanging in the air. As the event unfolded, the blind player moved through the crowd, soaking in the vibrant energy. Participants engaged in workshops, sharing laughter and tears as they explored the power of creative expression. The open mic session was a highlight, with individuals stepping up to share their art, poetry, and personal stories. Each performance was met with applause, the audience responding with encouragement and support. When it was their turn to speak, the blind player took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Thank you all for being here today," they began, their voice steady yet filled with emotion. "This event is a testament to the strength of our community. Together, we are creating a space where everyone can be heard and seen. Your stories matter, and they have the power to inspire change." As they concluded their speech, the audience erupted in applause, their cheers echoing throughout the venue. The blind player felt a rush of gratitude, knowing that they were part of something much larger than themselves. The connections formed that day would ripple outwards, touching lives in ways they couldn't yet imagine. In the coming weeks, the blind player continued to see the effects of their efforts. They received messages from attendees who had found solace in the stories shared, who had taken steps toward healing, and who had connected with others in meaningful ways. Each message reinforced their belief in the power of community and the importance of sharing one's journey. The blind player realized that their journey was not just about personal growth. It was about fostering an environment where others could flourish. With each event, each podcast episode, and each connection made, they were creating a legacy of hope and resilience, one that would inspire future generations to embrace their stories and support one another. As the sun set on another successful event, the blind player reflected on how far they had come. They had transformed their experiences into a force for good, touching lives and creating a community centered around empathy and understanding. With a heart full of gratitude, they looked towards the future, knowing that the journey was far from over. With renewed determination, they embraced the challenges ahead, ready to continue exploring the endless possibilities that lay in front of them. The ripples of change they had set in motion would continue to expand, creating waves of connection and healing that would resonate far beyond their wildest dreams. And so, with each step forward, the blind player continued to create ripples of change, touching lives in ways they had once only dreamed of. The journey was theirs to shape, and they were determined to make it meaningful, one story at a time.